the smoke coming out of Washington, as we record this, that's the funny thing though. Like everybody is they're so dug in on which quarterback the Commanders are going to take. Meanwhile, the Commanders waited until last week to even bring these guys in and reportedly brought them all in at the same time.
I know.
Which it just gives the it's like speed dating or something. Like it gives me the weirdest vibes.
Yes, it does. And I mean, I don't know if this is a ploy to make sure that none of us know what the Commanders are about to do, or that no team knows more than us, the media. I think it's kind of to throw teams off the scent. And this is a way to do that while still not wasting time, because so many teams will like throw you off the scent, but it kind of wastes time to do that. This way, NFL teams don't even know which way they're leaning. And there's so many teams, I feel like, that are affected by the quarterback that Washington picks, that they have every incentive to be very hush-hush about it.
I think the draft, we always say the draft starts at 3 with the Patriots. But at the same time, I think
starts at 2.
It's so heavily determined by what Washington does, because who's still available is going to dictate things like trades up the board.
Yes.
If the guy the Minnesota Vikings love goes number 2, then that might change everything about what comes after that. So it's worth considering. There's so much smoke coming out about this. Insiders and draft experts will have you believe that Jayden Daniels' name is already on the jersey. I just don't think I buy it. Like, I don't buy smokescreen season.
No.
I love Jayden Daniels. I think he has a really high floor, but I'm in charge of the pick. I think Drake Maye's ceiling is too enticing to ignore. And if I'm wrong Thursday, fine. But I'm going with Drake Maye as the number 2 pick.
It's interesting because I've talked to some people about Cliff Kingsbury's offense and who would probably fit into their best. And it seems like it would be Jayden Daniels from everything I've heard, with the caveat, though, that if you are picking your quarterback based on your offensive coordinator, that's not a really good way to do business.
Could be in for a bad time.
Exactly. Because if he fits one offense, there's no guarantee that throughout his tenure, the player's tenure, that the coach is going to be the same. So while I've heard and while I've seen that I do think Jayden Daniels would fit into Cliff Kingsbury's offense really well, Drake Maye has the higher floor. He's a little bit more polished.
Higher ceiling, you think? No, you think he's got the higher floor?
I think he's got the higher floor than Jayden.
See, I think Jayden is like a ready-made guy who's ready to come in right now. I just don't know how much better he's going to get at the age of 24.
I think it's the same, because I do think that there's room for Drake Maye to improve. He needs to cut down on some of his reckless behavior, reckless decisions, reckless throws. But I trust him to do that and continue to get better. I just also think that his floor is pretty high. I mean, he can do what is there that he can't do? He didn't have a good supporting cast at UNC.
The reason I don't say his floor is high is because there is some reckless behavior there. Like, you will see some mind-numbing decisions from Drake Maye. He's 26 starts compared to 55 for Jayden Daniels. That's where I come down. Where
I get that.
I'm much more confident about what Jayden Daniels is right now. But I feel that good about what Drake Maye could be in a couple of years.
Yeah, no, I think 2 things can be true. Is that I think that Drake Maye does have a higher floor. And maybe that's more just because of his build, too. I just don't trust Jayden Daniels at the NFL level necessarily, especially behind, whatever offensive line protects him is going to have to do so really, really well. And Washington can do that. But I do think that Drake Maye is more of that prototypical quarterback size, comes from a family of basketball players. He's also the youngest of all the boys in his family. And so I just feel like that gives him a chip on his shoulder too. I don't know. I just think that he's so accurate, except when he's not, and then he's really not. But that doesn't happen very often. I just think that it makes the most sense to take a guy like Drake Maye, who has a high floor and a high ceiling for that matter.
So I think these 2 picks go in tandem. You have the number 3 pick. I think it's this simple. The Patriots are either going to trade out of this or they're going to draft the next quarterback available. In this case, it would be Jayden. Maybe it's Drake Maye. But I think it comes down to how much ownership wants a quarterback versus how much the Patriots want more draft capital. And I don't know how we answer that. We can't. I don't think we can.
No, we can't. I put the Patriots as taking Jayden Daniels because I do think that they like him too. But I don't want to conflate that with what I think they should do. I think they should trade down. We talked about this already on a previous episode. We're firmly team trade down for the New England Patriots to see if they can accelerate that rebuild a little bit more with a haul, which I think they could. But is Robert Kraft going to sit there and not take a quarterback at number 3,
I don't think I buy it.
hoping that you're not picking this high later on, next year, 2 years from now, whatever, when it would be more practical to take a quarterback and you're set up a little bit more for them.
I think it's so important to remember that ownership can influence this type of stuff, and I won't be surprised if a quarterback, whether it's Jayden or somebody else, is their pick. All right, and now number 4, we went ahead and gave you to that because this is where we think the draft gets goofy, because you do have a trade. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Well, with Washington taking Drake Maye at number 2, I don't think that the Vikings are incentivized to even try to trade up with the Patriots at that point to that number 3 spot, because they're not, in my eyes, they're not trying to take Jayden Daniels. They're trying to get to JJ McCarthy if they can't get Drake Maye, because I think that JJ McCarthy fits into a Shanahan type offense that Kevin O'Connell runs really, really well. He can maneuver the pocket, but he can also throw on the run. He's just untested when it comes to reps. Luckily, though, the Minnesota Vikings have a former quarterback at head coach, a former quarterback at quarterbacks coach in Josh McCown now, and they have a bridge quarterback in Sam Darnold that can afford them some flexibility as to when they would need to throw the new guy, the rookie, into the fire. Plus, you talk about all the weapons they have: Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. You now have Aaron Jones in the backfield. You also have a defense that can win you games in Minnesota under Brian Flores, and they showed that last year. So it's a really good situation for a young quarterback. And I think if you're going to take a swing at a guy like JJ McCarthy, who has all of the traits you want, you can afford to develop him really, really well, pretty much better than any other team could.
Yeah. We have the price for this trade coming as obviously Minnesota's 11th overall pick, the 23rd overall pick, which they got from Houston earlier this spring.
Yeah.
A 2025 first.
Sorry, guys, it's expensive.
And the second of this year's 4th round picks, number 129 overall. So, I mean, it's a pretty penny, but guess what? Going 8 spots up to the top of the board, or 7 spots up to the top of the board to get a quarterback is expensive. I don't think it's realistic to think Minnesota pulls something like this off without giving up next year's
first. Yeah, I don't think
it is.
I know.
And hey, but like we said, if you get a quarterback you love, hopefully it's worth it. And what you just said is the key part. Even if McCarthy doesn't start right away, the Vikings have enough on offense that, I mean, nobody wants to give up that many ones. I get it, but it's not as if they have a ton of needs on offense. The offense is ready-made for this quarterback, which I think makes it a little more palatable.